Hey, I'm Matt, and welcome to Behind the Beard. On this episode, we're going to have a general catch-up first and foremost, give you an idea as to the things I've been up to, things that I've been working on just behind the scenes. Then we're going to go on to a project roundup, so I'll give you guys the griff on my current outstanding projects that I'm kind of in the middle of working through, or in some cases nearing the end of. Then finally we're going to go on to goal progress and what goals I'm setting out for the channel, and more specifically me and my skill set and what I want to achieve. These are going to be fairly regular segments, so project roundup, I'll be doing that every single episode of Behind the Beard. I'll be going on to goal progress as well, so just as a little flashcard as to how far we are or how close we are to achieving certain goals or targets or milestones, that sort of thing. And it gives me something to work towards as well, and it just keeps me motivated, and it helps really. That's my golden carrot, because when we get into it, you'll understand why. So, without further ado, let's catch up. What a week. So, let's have a catch up. This week I released 2 videos in one day, both of which are about the same topic. I thought that would be the right way to do it because I wanted to split the build and the paint side of things, just for consumption purposes. If you want to see just general idea on build and then general idea on paint, fair enough. I think going forward though, I'm probably going to intersplice those 2 things in one and not focus as much on the building aspect. I think everybody has a general idea of how to build. If there's specific parts of the model or specific parts of the building process that I think needs attention, I'll chuck that into the video, but for the most part it'll just be the process of me going from A to B and the nice bits of the journey which I would like to show to you guys. But those 2 videos out, they came out on Friday. It is currently Saturday. I'm quite happy with how they've been received so far. I'm quite happy with how they're out there, and I'm really quite happy with how I edited them. One of the big things that I realised after my first video on Weathering the Stairs was my editing is not up to scratch, and that's a skill that I need to really learn. I'm currently just using my phone, and I'm using a software called CapCut. It was recommended to me by a friend. Apparently it's the bee's knees, and it's proven to be so. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it, and it's become a process that I'm slowly getting into the flow with. So yeah, so that's that side of things. The second side of things is I made an expensive mistake. I basically, for the more astute of you may already have been able to hear this. However, I am currently using this. It's a DJI Mic 2. Now, I did a bit of research and found that there was a couple of decent named brands out there who had really quite decent reviews, and little Matt and is very, very eager to make quality content noggin decided to commit to buy a DJI Mic 2 transmitter, specifically the transmitter, which transmits over Bluetooth to his phone. Now, the bit that he didn't research was, is there a difference between having just the transmitter, you've just heard my mistake, just the transmitter, or do you actually need the receiver too? And it turns out you need the receiver. So I then had to go back in and buy this. Now, DJI being DJI, you can't just buy the receiver on its own. You have to buy the transmitter. So I now have both. Mint. No, in all fairness though, it was a silly mistake to make, but I'm actually quite thankful that I made that mistake. The whole point of what I'm trying to achieve here is it's all about communication and community. I enjoy my hobby. I enjoy what I do. I really, really have fun with it. I challenge myself and push myself to try and upskill myself. whilst also using it as some form of mental reprieve. I use it just to kind of just relax, get into the zone of painting, really knock out a really fun model or set of models or project of models, and I can sit back and go, yeah, I did that, that's pretty cool. In my own consumption of content and my own journey on YouTube, I've come across some amazing content creators, and I had the fortune of meeting up with them, or a few of them at least, at UK Games Expo earlier on in the year. If I can work out how to do CapCut, there'll be overlays right now. But yeah, I met up with the Siege Studio guys. First and foremost, they were amazing. It was great to see James, Joe, and George all in one place. They were actually there to support their Colourforge release, which I'm part of the Patreon of, and I will be doing a project review when that comes, so that'll be interesting. However, the most impactful person that I met during the day, hands down, has to be Byron. Byron, he is the guy in the background of Artis Orbis and also Element Games, so he runs both companies. He's also a huge pioneer in the dry brushing world, and because of the time it literally everything kind of fell into place like perfectly. I got there. I was at the front of the queue for the doors opening to allow you into the halls, and I made a beeline straight to the Element Games booth, and there he was, on his own, sat down, setting up. And so I lighted around, and I decided to approach, and an hour and a bit later, I'd had a one-on-one session with Byron on dry brushing, and it was phenomenal. Byron's perspective on the hobby as a whole, it just blew my mind. To speak to him for like face to face and to kind of have that deep conversation that I would love to have, and for him to give me that time, and for him to invite me in on that time as well. It wasn't just a case of like, oh, hello, mate. It was a case of, oh, hi, how are you doing? And we engaged in a conversation to which he invited me into his space, into his workshop, effectively. And he invited me to watch and learn different ways in which he approaches dry brushing and different techniques he uses and things that he's learned. And the way that he presented that to me, it was as if it was just him and I in the room. And for the most of that hour and a bit, it was literally just him and I sat at the table. There were passers-by and whatnot, but it was phenomenal. But anyway, I digress. Community and communication are really, really key things, especially in our hobby. So it's quite fortuitous that I've got 2 mics now. In my current arrangement, I'm using my phone to film everything. And that's great to be on the fly and stuff. And if I've got the little pack with me with the 2 mics and the receiver in, I'll just chuck it in my bag. And if I'm wanting to have a conversation with somebody, I'll just sling the mic on, sling the receiver in, and job's good. But for further on down the line, and I alluded to it earlier, I'm wanting to have conversations with people. I'm wanting to open and explore the hobby with them. See exactly what it is that what makes them tick about the hobby, what makes them, get up in the morning and think, you know what it is, I'm going to do this today. What drives them, but then also how it's helped them. Because I think as hobbyists, quite a lot of the time, the reason why we are hyper-focused on one specific thing is because the world is going on around us. I know for myself, I use this as a bit of an escapism. I use this as a bit of mental reprieve from the world that's going on around me. I kind of block it all out. I put some music on. I'm in my own little chilled zone, and it's just me, the model, the paint, and the paintbrush, and I'm just doing my thing. Switch off brain time, focus on one thing time, and that for me is really, really key. And it's really healthy for your mental health. If you've ever suffered from anxiety or depression or any form of severe moderate, any form of mental health issues in your life, and you've not had a creative outlet before, this hobby is actually ideal to kind of just step your toe in and kind of go, right, I can switch off from that now, and it becomes peace. And that for me has been massive. And if I can communicate that, or if my peers and I can communicate that in whatever way that comes out, be it a podcast, be it an interview, be it just me chatting to a camera, whatever that case is, I'm all for it, because if we can help people today, they'll still be here tomorrow. Simple as that. Next on catch up is the setup. I've redone my setup, and if I can figure out how to do it, there's going to be a really silly video of me basically doing this setup justice. I decided, obviously, because I'm committing time to YouTube and I'm committing time to kind of formalizing my project map, because that's how I think in hobby. I think in project terms. I think in, okay, right, well, I'm going to start off with this guy, like this squad, which will then lead into this squad, which will then lead into this particular model, and then this and this, and it kind of all sort of spiderwebs from there. But to do that, I think having the best space or the most optimized space to do that is a really, really key part. And that's why I've spent so much time over the last year, when I've not been committing to hobby, I've been committing to making my space the most ergonomic for me, or the most usable for me. So I'll show you the during, but then I'll also give you a little sort of look around of it now. I think that nicely rounds out catch up. So on to project roundup. So just for a bit of admin, this behind the beard is going to be a little bit longer, well, probably a lot longer than the rest of the behind the beards are going to be, because this is the first one. It needs to set the foundation for you guys just to understand where I am currently. Like, obviously I've been doing hobby a lot longer than I've been doing YouTube. I've been doing YouTube for 2 weeks now, so you kind of need to know where I am in the projects that I've currently got ongoing before we continue into just future behind the beards and the different projects that you'll start to see as I create the content for them. So for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will see quite a lot of Tyranids for 40k. I shall link my Instagram in the description below. I've been working on Hive Fleet Behemoth since August 2023, currently in August 2024. I moved into a new house, and literally the day after we moved in, once I put all my things in all of the places, up until that point I'd been basically stockpiling. I got the Leviathan box set. I got a couple of other boxes as well, just of individual models and whatnot. And then as time went on, I happened upon some pretty cool models as well. So for example, an old Red Terror, like the old metal cast Red Terror, unpainted, unbuilt, and I got it for an absolute steal on eBay. So I'll show you guys that. I'm going to make a full dedicated video surrounding my Hive Fleet Behemoth once it's done, but for the time being, I'll just show you a couple of things that I've been doing. So for example, here we've got a flying hive tyrant, and I'm really happy with how this came out. The wings especially, I took a lot of time and put a lot of effort into it, but I just love these guys. They're so cool. The Neuro Tyrant as well, one of my favourite. Unexpectedly, it was one of my favourite models that I did throughout the entirety of the process. The brain came out perfectly for me, and I just think overall the sculpt of the model was amazing. But to round off that project, because we are in the spitting distance of finishing that project, I have 2 models left. I have a non assimilator, and I have the Psychophage. That's it. 2 models. That's all I have left for for my Hive Fleet Behemoth as it sits. There's only one additional model that I want to get at some point in the future, which is the Hierophant. I love that model. It was one of my original sort of dream models when I was a kid. When I saw it because I story time. So when I was about 12, I asked for an Imperial Guard. I think it was a Valkyrie. I think that's what it's called. I'll find the name of the model, but basically it was the old resin Valkyrie before it was a Games Workshop model, as in the plastic kit. I asked for that for Christmas one year, and this was a time where the internet was a thing, but like buying things on the internet wasn't as easy as it is now, and it was a lot of entering your card details and all that sort of thing, which admittedly it's still the same now, but there wasn't like protected services that you could use like PayPal or, you know, or whatever other service that you use to buy stuff. So I asked my mum for, as you do as a 12-year-old kid, like, oh mum, for Christmas I want this thing. And I was so fortunate to get that for my Christmas box when I was like 12 years old or whatever. But in that box came a little pamphlet, and it was like a little paper catalogue. It was literally printed paper. It wasn't like good paper stock or anything. It was literally like A4 paper that somebody had chucked through a printer, and it was the Forge World catalogue, like for that year. And when you were flicking through, you got to the Tyranids page, and there was the Harrod rules. I've got them. And there was also the Hierophant and the Harrodan, but Harrodan's really cool, but I don't run gargoyles, so it's kind of pointless. And also, it's a very top-heavy model, and it's got a very small base, and I imagine that the smallest gust of wind, because obviously inside wind happens everywhere, God knows, but yeah, that'll fall over like that, so I'm not probably going to bother with the Harrodan. However, the Hierophant, that's a dream model from when I was a kid. So once I've finished the Sarcophage and once I've finished the Norn Assimilator, I will be getting a Bio-Titan. I will be getting a Hierophant. I will. It's going to be fucking mint. Pardon my French. I may swear on occasion. I'm going to try not to, just to keep it family friendly, but every so often there may be a swear. I do apologise. I'm only human. So that is to round off my Hive Fleet Behemoth project. I've really enjoyed it. That's been my life for the last year. It's only within the last 2 or 3 months where I've started to get into Necromunda. Believe it or not, I haven't actually done much terrain prior to doing those stairs and prior to the game board, which I'll show you. That's another project which I'll get onto in a moment. But anyway, so rounding off the Behemoth stuff, look to try and get at least one of those models done by the end of September. I think that's a pretty tangible goal to work towards, but I think I'll get onto the probably the Sarcophage, because I've actually started work on the Sarcophage already. I've gotten a few of the block colours in and a few of the effects that I use on it, so I'll probably get that knocked out and get that done. And I can finally finish on the Assimilator. I've done a bit of a conversion on the Assimilator. It's the first time I've done a conversion, and I have used a 3D printed model for a base. So instead of the like the spore thing that the Assimilator and the Emissary come with, I've already done the Emissary on that spore base, so that kind of like that dynamic pose that it comes with. It's a beautiful model, really, really cool sculpt. And when it was announced, I was like, I was elated. I really loved it. So once I've gotten that one out of the way, I thought, well, hang on, I can't really have two with the same base. That just didn't sit well with me. So I found a tank, a broken, destroyed tank 3D print. And it is a 3D print. It's a PLA print. It's not a resin print, unfortunately. So you can see the lines going up. I can't remember the technical name of those lines, but so I'm going to try and work a way to basically make it look destroyed and broken. It's literally half of a tank on its side, and there's a way that you sit the assimilator on top, and it is a quite tall model now. However, it looks brilliant. It looks like so dynamic and so posed, which quite nicely leads me on to my next project with 40k. So the tank's colour scheme, and I am just going to use the word tank because it looks like a rhino, but it's not a rhino because it's 3D printed, so it's just a tank. Anyway, the colour scheme of the tank, the destroyed tank that the assimilator is stood on, is going to be from the Dark Angels. When the Deathwing Assault box was released, or announced rather, I looked at it and I thought, that's cool. That's a lot of Terminators, and I like Terminators. And I've kind of flirted with the idea of getting into Space Marines at some point. But when I saw that box and I saw those Terminators, I was like, you can make an army exclusively out of Terminators? Really? That's cool. Right, so I committed. I bought the Deathwing Assault box, and I thought that was really cool. I've done nothing so far. Absolutely nothing. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've built Belial, and I've removed his head. I've kept his head off, and his head is currently adorning a cork on a little paper clip, ready to be badly painted by somebody who's never painted the flesh of a human before. So that'll be a fun process in its own right. But yeah, so I've got the Terminators to build. I've got the Watchers in the Dark to build. The Inner Circle to build. I'm really looking forward to that. I did actually build an 1,000-point list, but since I built that list, it's kind of they've updated the rules, and now it's 1,005 points. So I need to sort of amend that list. But basically, I've got a Land Raider Crusader, which is partially built. I've built it to the point whereby you can still see the inside of the Land Raider itself. I've painted the door, or the base plate of the door, and I'll do a video on how I do the interior of the Land Raider, and then I'll build it up and finish it off, and then that'll be its own thing. And I also have a chaplain in Terminator armor, so a Space Marine chaplain in Terminator armor. It's the guy with the skull and the big lance thing, or whatever it is. And that's your army. That's literally your list. Chaplain, Land Crusader, and the Deathwing Assault box, and that's like 1,000 points. I'm not a competitive player at all. I'm not a good player at all. I'm actually like genuinely outside of everything. I'm dyslexic, so reading rules and whatnot, it takes a little while for me to kind of process that and understand that. So I'm not the best at it, but I do enjoy it. So, and when we play, I've got a few friends that we all play 40k, and we all now play Necromunda. It's a fun time. So something to look forward to on project roundups going forward, interweaved within the videos that I'm going to produce and going to bring out, you will see the progress of my Deathwing Assault box, which leads me on to a goal. So I'll get onto goals later on in this video, but I've always wanted a Thunderhawk. I've just never had the reason to get one. I've seen the Stormbird, and that's cool, but it's not the Thunderhawk. The Thunderhawk's just that. It is what it is. So what I've decided with this channel, I've decided that when I get to 750 subscribers, I'm going to buy a Thunderhawk, because by that time I'll have built and made and hopefully gotten to a finishing point with my Deathwing Assault squad to be able to justify buying the Thunderhawk. Because looking at the rules of the Thunderhawk, a Thunderhawk can carry 15 Terminators or 30 regular troop, and there's 15 Terminators in the box, so it kind of works out in my favour. But that's going to be that's my first sort of goal with the channel. After 750 subscribers, I'm going to be buying a Thunderhawk, and that will be its own little mini series. I'm going to do a building and preparation. I'm going to just take you guys through the steps and getting a bigger Forge World model, and the additional steps and the additional considerations you have to have for that model. I've worked with GW resin before. I've worked with some of the larger kits from GW as well. So namely, I've had the Demacaron. I've got that up there alongside the 2 Harrod rules. As previously mentioned, I had the Imperial Guard Valkyrie. I've worked with a few of my friends on, I can't remember the name of it now. It's the big, the Tau Supremacy Armor, is it called? I think it's the big, basically the Tau Titan. I helped a lad build that. So I understand the process of how to get to a certain point. The only intimidating bit is going to be giving it justice on the paint scheme. So I really look forward to doing just the traditional Dark Angels colour scheme on it, like the creams and the greens, and that's going to be it's going to be really fun, and that's something to look forward to. But anyway, finally, in our project roundup, we'll go on to Necromunda. So I run Palanite Enforcers. I've got a fully painted squad of Palanite Enforcers and a couple of subjugators. I do have another 10-ish models or 9-ish models of unpainted. That's not going to be a video. I'm not going to do a video on painting the Enforcer side of things. However, what I am going to be looking at is Malstrain. The Malstrain have been released as standalone models. I got the Secundus box when that came out. I've built up 3 of the Genestealers, and they are at this stage here. So I've built 3 of them. I've still got a sprue of Genestealers left to build. So I'll be building these 3 up, and I'll be doing basically I'll be painting all 6 of them at the same time. I'm hopeful that we will soon receive the remainder of the Malstrain models. So there's going to be some resin cast ones from what I understand, like the Alpha, for example, and the Coalescence, I think it's called. I can't remember the correct name for it. I'm going to be getting them, and I genuinely can't wait, because to have a Malstrain specific gang, which as it sits, you can only use a I think you can only use a Malstrain gang within the Underhells campaign for Secundus. However, if what I'm hearing is correct, you can actually bring in the Genestealers specifically as hangers-on, potentially within a cult army, like a Genestealer cult gang. And once they're dead, they're sort of gone, kind of thing. But you can buy them back in, and I'm yet to receive the Book of Desolation. So it's release date today for that, but because I ordered it through GW, it's not arrived yet because they send it on the day of release, and with it being a back holiday, I'm probably not going to get it until the back end of next week. Just is how it is. It's luck of the draw. But I'm going to have a look through the rules there. I'm going to consult some more wise and more long in the tooth members of my community on what these rules actually mean and what they mean for me, and I'll get back to you on that one. But yeah, so just to round out the model side of things, or the miniatures rather, we've got finishing off Hive Fleet Behemoth. I'm hoping to get at least one of those models finished by the end of September. We've got the Deathwing Assault box, which I need to start tackling. I'll probably start that in Q4, so like September onwards. And then also the Malstrain stuff. Now, I'm quite fortunate in the sense of it's a smaller miniature count than the rest of what I'm doing. And it'll be interesting to see the final colour scheme. I mentioned it in a previous video. I've been looking at sort of reptiles and amphibians, and specifically poison dart frogs, and the coloration on sort of toxic animals within our animal kingdom, just to try and draw some inspiration. And I landed on like a greeny brown colour scheme, like mentally anyway. But I'm kind of still in 2 minds about that. I don't know whether that's going to be the right thing to do. Like, in my head, I envisaged like a light green. So, for example, I've got like a moot green. So I'll show you that. So moot green is this, okay? And I was kind of thinking like, okay, I could go in with like a basic layer of like the moot green, then go in with like a wash of some description to kind of like dull it down somewhat, and then as you go further up the model, so I'll show you here. So as you go further up, like the model to these spines on the back, go into like a darker green of some description. So I had the idea of going in like a warg green, for example, or even just going in with the straightened green. So you know, these two guys here, and just work it up as like a light green to dark green fade, and then on top for those spires doing like a brown. So going in with like a Gothor brown. I'll show you that now. So I'm just putting them back on my little stand there. So going in with like a light brown, just like that. But again, it's just a green to brown fade, isn't it? At the end of the day, and it might look cool, and I might, you know, put some brown speckles like just to sort of show that, like to help that fade effect. But again, do I go down that road? I don't know. So I'm kind of still humming and hawing as to what colour scheme I want to do for the Malstrain. But we'll see. That's, you know, that's a road we will tackle when we come to it. So there we are. So that was Project Roundup. Let's go on to goals. Wait. One last thing on Project Roundup. Necromunda terrain. I completely forgot to actually mention it. I mentioned it loads of times, but sorry. Necromunda terrain. So I mentioned in a previous video that I'm doing like a Secundus excursion, or planning a Secundus excursion for the other gangs in my current Necromunda campaign. So me and a few of my friends are doing a Necromunda campaign, really enjoying it. I'm getting absolutely blown out of the water, as to be expected, because I'm using the Palanite Enforcers. They're not the best. But anyway, so I'm doing basically a set of tiles for Necromunda and for that campaign, but then we're going to use it in future campaigns as well. And I'm like 90% of the way there with my first tile. Tiles are expensive to do, especially if you're doing them fixed. And I'm doing a handful of fixed tiles, and then I'm going to be doing terrain for the tiles that you can sort of amend as time goes on. So I've done this so far. So this is where we're at with our first tile. Now, as you can see, it's nearly there. That's the stair set. So that's the stair set from my first video, and that's where it got. That's where it went. That's where it lives. This is all glued down. It's all pretty much painted. The only bits that I've got left to finish off with a bit of weathering is this top area here, the stairs leading up to it, and this top area here. So level 1 and level 2. I love how it's come out so far. It's really, really cool. On the back of it, you've got a little console as well, which I'm really quite happy with how that turned out. So just that here. Looks really cool. By the end of this, I will be an expert in painting hazard stripes, because there's a lot of hazard stripes in Necromunda. But yeah, so this tile rather, it has a couple of points of access. So I think it's got 4 points of accessibility for other tiles surrounding it. So you've got 1 point here, which is just on this face here. You've got 1 point here, which is at the base of the stairs, so just there. And then you've got a point on this side and on this axis as well. So you've got like 2 on level 1, 2 on level 2, which again, for level 2, you don't actually need to have anything on other tiles, and that's the whole draw of the modularity of Necromunda terrain. I love this. So I've already got the ruined walls and columns, and I've also got a second box of walls and columns, and I've got another box of the stairs and barriers and stuff like that, like the stairs and floor tiles and stuff. And I've also got the actual floor tile set itself. And that's basically, I'm going to try, you know, with each tile being quite expensive to make, that's going to be a longer process and a longer project. And as and when I start a tile, I'll jump straight into a tile, I'll plan it out, and I'll work with it. There's a couple of key shapes that you use in like in tile building. So for example, there is that one there, which is I think it's called the hooked L. So there's like an L shape, and then there's like a little bit at the end. There's a traditional L shape, which again follows the same format, just an L, but it's like a full L. So it covers like from the bottom of one to the top of the other. And then there's like, it's like a T shape. So it's a double wide in the middle, which is free space. And then you use your walls and columns up the middle and out to the side. And it blocks off 3 areas, but that's from a modularity perspective. When you're rotating it around, it interlocks into other things and it makes it look cool. I have some really cool ideas for terrain, and there is one specific bit of terrain, one specific tile, which I'm really excited to try and do, and it is going to be the most expensive tile that I do. There's no question about that. It's going to be a pub or a bar, and it's going to be called the Warlord's Head. Yeah. For those of you who haven't worked that bit out yet, I'm buying a Warlord Titan's head. I'm going to convert it into the centerpiece of a pub. Yeah, that's going to be quite fun. But the whole idea is it's going to be quite simple and quite open tile on the bottom floor. But basically if you've got the tile there like that, the bottom 2/3 are just going to be blank, but then the top third you're going to have a wall going up, and in the middle of the wall you're going to have the Warlord's head, and you're going to have some platforms surrounding it, and it's going to be like accessible through the back door. So if you look at the imagery of the Warlord's head on the GW website, you can see there's like a little, like in the cockpit at the back, there's like a circular door, and it's very similar to the design of the doors within Necromunda terrain. So my thought process was have that look as if it's broken out, and get some actual like some wires and cables and have them kind of like stretched around the board, just so it looks as if it's just basically been pulled from the Necromunda wasteland. And brought into Secundus way back when, and the Underhivers have created this bar and used this head as a centerpiece, and maybe have fractures of the actual faceplate of the Warlord's head within that tile. But I think that's going to be so cool, and I'm still percolating on the idea to bring it to fruition. But that tile specifically, that is a tile that I'm really looking forward to doing. Now, there is a part of me which wants to approach the Titan Owners Club and ask for permission, because I feel like it's a bit of sacrilege, like destroying a Titan's head, because I'm only getting the head. I'm specifically getting the head. I would love to get a Warlord Titan, and I think that may be a goal. I know it's going to be a goal for when we do get into the goal section. However, I do think I need to ask them just for their blessing to defile a Warlord Titan's head in the way of which I plan to do so. But yes, now that's out of the way, well, let's get on to the goals. Right, goal time. I appreciate this has been a really long video so far, and if you're still here, thank you so much for sitting this one out. This episode of Behind the Beard, it is episode 0 at the end of the day. It sets the foundation for things to come, and you've kind of got a few of the ideas of which I'm working on to bring to you guys. I've just explained quite an expensive and quite an interesting idea that I've got for the Warlord's Head pub. Obviously, I've also mentioned a Hierophant. I've mentioned a Thunderhawk. I've mentioned some quite expensive bits in this process so far. But that's what goals are for, and that's why we have goals, because these are things that help us it's like a reward for yourself, isn't it? So far I do have a handful of goals that I'm looking to work towards, alongside just completing the projects that I've got in my mind so far. My first my own personal first goal is to finish my my Hive Fleet Behemoth. Once that's done, that's going to be an amazing army. There's over 100 models there so far, and once that army's complete, you know, I can add things to it as time goes on, and I may well do. But for the time being, in my head, I think that's going to be a massive green tick. I'll be happy with that, and my reward for that will be getting the Hierophant. It won't necessarily be an immediate thing. It'll be in a couple of months down the line, when I've decided to pull the trigger on it. Really, it comes in and out of stock quite regularly. There was a 2 or 3 month stint where it just wasn't available whatsoever, and in that 2 or 3 month stint, they took Harrod rules away from us in the rules. 2 months after I bought my 2. I wasn't best pleased. I said some naughty words at that point, like heck and goodness. But anyway, so Hierophant, that's going to be probably my most close goal. That's probably going to be the goal that you'll see come to fruition first. My second goal is, as I said, after 750 subscribers, I'm going to get a Thunderhawk. I'm going to do the Thunderhawk in the Deathwing Assault, or the Dark Angel colour scheme that I end up landing on for my Deathwing Assault squad. And that kind of unlocks the colour scheme, if that makes sense. So once I've figured out which way I'm going to do the Deathwing Assault team, and which way I'm going to do my Dark Angels, that I'll then be able to commit to the paint scheme of the Thunderhawk. But to get to that stage, 750 subscribers. So if you aren't subscribed and you want to see a Thunderhawk, drop me a subscribe. That'd be great. It'll help this channel grow, and it'll help me achieve these goals, and it'll help me bring you this content as well. There's not that many videos on the bigger GW models on YouTube. Like I know from first-hand experience, for the Hierophant, for example, there's some good Hierophant pictures on Instagram. There's some amazing, brilliant models on Instagram that you can see. But when it comes to the YouTube side of things, there's really not that much. There's a handful of really old videos, and there's a couple of new ones here and there, but there's not that many. I think there's about 15, 20, 25. There's not many. So Thunderhawk, that's a 750 subscriber goal. My next goal, it is a long way off. It's a very long way off, and I did allude to it in my pub idea, is a Titan. So Titans are kind of like the pinnacle of what GW produce. Not only are they immense in size, but the modelling skill to actually get one built in the first place, that is its own beast to quell in its own right. You're talking about effectively 2 feet of resin, 15 kilo of resin to work with, to go through your preparation stages, to go through the sub-assembly stages, to even when you're going through the painting side of things. It's such a vast model to paint that to get to that stage, it takes months. To bring a Titan from start to finish, doesn't matter if it's a Warhound, doesn't matter if it's a Warlord, or a Reaver, for example. Doesn't matter which one of those 3 you go for. It's a big model. It's a lot of resin, and it's a big challenge. And to do that, when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm getting a Titan. I think that's a big number. Obviously, I'm still a very small YouTube channel, but I think to have that goal in the distance, and to know that in 10,000 subscribers time, I'll be getting a Titan. Yeah, that'll be a good one. I would love to grow this channel. I would love to bring you guys amazing content, or the best content I can potentially produce. And I think having that 10,000 subscriber goal for the Titan, for me, it really gives me that fire. It inspires me. And I know it sounds really quite selfish to kind of talk in these terms, but I think going from a 750 subscriber goal to a 10,000 subscriber goal, like that runway, if I can get to 10,000 subscribers, it shows that the quality of the content that I'm producing is giving people an impact. It's impacting the community in a positive way. It's showing that the content that I'm creating is potentially helping people. It's potentially giving them that mental reprieve that I use this hobby for myself personally. But also it's a really cool model to paint. Like, honestly, some of the paint jobs that you've seen, like that you see online of Titan owners, like, they are skilled. They are absolutely skilled. And some of the freehand work, oh god, I could wax lyrical about some of the freehand work that you've seen, some of the insignias that people have done. They're works of art in their own right. And if by some miracle, I mean, it's, miracles aren't manufactured. They come from hard work and dedication, and that's what I'm committing to this channel, and this is what I'm committing to my hobby, and this is what I'm committing to my free time, and this is what I'm committing in all of this. That Titan's going to be cool. It's a big Titan. It's a big one. It's an expensive Titan. It's, fully kitted out, you're looking at the best part of £2,000. It's a lot of money to outlay for a model, but it'll be cool. And I'm really looking forward to it. So there's a handful of goals. However, that's the nice bit. The hard bit's going to be putting the hard work in and putting the time in to make sure that I am doing the best by yourselves. Because ultimately it's the people who watch these videos, especially for, I think this is coming up an hour now for this video. I haven't totted it all up, but it's probably going to be the best part of an hour for this video. And if you've watched to this point, thank you so much. I appreciate that I do waffle, and I appreciate that I talk quickly at times, but thank you for watching so far, and I hope you continue to do so. I would love to hear what you have to say on things. I would love to hear, your feedback, and there's probably going to be some people out there going, 10,000 subscribers, mate, you've only got like 15 subscribers, what are you talking about? But it's a goal, it's something to work towards, and if I don't get it, I don't get it. If I get there, well, you saw it here that I was 15 or 16 subscribers big, and I said 10,000 subscribers, I'm getting a Titan. Hopefully that happens, and I hope I'm able to bring that to you guys. And I'm looking to do a lot of good with this channel as well. I'm looking to do, I'm looking to bring some competitions to the fray. I'm looking to interview and speak to some great people in the community and bring that community spirit into the fray. Yeah, I'm getting whimsical, so I think it's probably a good time to close this off. So thank you very much for giving me your time, and thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for just being here from the start. If you've watched this video early doors, I look forward to showing you what I'm capable of. I'm looking forward to showing you, some great videos coming up. I think the next video that I'm going to bring to you guys is going to be about the Malstrain. I'm going to be building up this sprue, and I'm probably going to start committing paint to the model as well, and get that all boxed off, and that'll be a video that'll come out next Friday. So today is the 24th, I think, the 24th or the 25th. So in like 6 days time, it's currently Saturday, 6 days time, next video, Malstrain Genestealers. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please drop me a like. I'd love to hear what you have to say, what your views are, any thoughts or feelings on anything that I've discussed in this video so far. This has been Behind the Beard. I've been Matt. This has been my beard. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. It really helps me grow. And if you want to see me do a Warlord Titan, or if you want to see me do a Thunderhawk, time will show you. So have a good day, catch you later, and in a bit.